Hey, I'm Ray Hudson, and you are, I don't know who you are, but you're listening to Blaugrana Graham. Don't be like them kids in the Blair Witch Project and go away, alright?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live commentary of Barcelona v Dynamo Kyiv. It is the Champions League night. It's another Wednesday. Logan, how are you doing?
Good, man. I'm super excited for this Champions League matchup. Got a couple guys returning in the lineup. How about you?
Yeah, no, it's. I'm very excited as well. It's going to be quite a good game. Actually, we are already 2 minutes in. We apologize we had some technical difficulties. Hopefully, the first and last time that happened. Just to give you guys a quick recap of the lineups. Barcelona start off with Marc-Andre ter Stegen in goal. Serginho Dest starts with Piqué, Clement Lenglet, and Jordi Alba in defense. Sergio Busquets with Miralem Pjanic partner up as a double pivot. Pedri, Messi, Fati, and Antoine Griezmann make up the front four for Barcelona. On the bench, some interesting names. Carles Alenya, Martin Braithwaite, Ousmane Dembele, Riqui Puig back in the squad. Neto on the bench now that ter Stegen has come back from injury. Trincao, Roberto, Firpo, and Iñaki Peña are on the bench. As for Kiev, an interesting lineup here as Nesheret, Ketsiora, Zabarny, Popov, Shabanov, Shepelev, Andreevsky, Zigankov, Boyalski, Rodriguez, and Supriya start. For the Russian side, Benjamin Verbic, Dipena, Lednev, Clayton, Rosin, Sirota, Ignatenko, and Morgun are on the bench for the Russian side. As we already are in here 4 minutes in, somewhat of a penalty call, it seems like, at least. Yep. There is doubt that it could be a penalty as Lionel Messi trips over, tackled by a defender, and it is currently being reviewed by the officials. And it has been deemed a penalty for Barcelona. Lionel Messi steps up to take it. 4 minutes in, definitely would be a great start. 4 minutes in, and Messi has scored quite some penalties, especially recently. It used to be something he wasn't as good at as the other aspects of his game.
Yeah.
But it is something that he has improved on. The referee talking to the keeper in goal here, talking to Nesheret, giving him some instructions. And Messi looks ready to take the kick from the spot as we are here almost 5 minutes in, and Barcelona could already take an early lead. And the referee's blowing the whistle. Messi takes it, and it's a goal, bottom right corner. The Argentine brings Barcelona ahead. And that is the start they would have wanted. That's definitely the start they would have wanted. Logan, what do you make of this?
I mean, I don't think we're expecting anything different tonight. This isn't the strongest Dynamo side. But as well as, I just want to get off to a start and say, you did so well pronouncing those names that I'm actually incredibly impressed. That was, like, I would have been so confused, but that was great. But yeah, obviously not the greatest side. We have a couple guys back in the lineup, trying to out Griezmann back at the 9, obviously, rather than him waiting to the wing. But yeah, I wouldn't expect anything other than, a good performance tonight from Barcelona against this side.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think Dynamo have also been quite unlucky. As we know, a couple of corona cases for the Russian side. Bit of a setback, of course, both mentally but also physically. As from what I could gather, at least, it was around 9 players that tested positive from the first team, and only 2 to 3 of them were starters. So although it may not be a big loss in terms of personnel, physically, mentally, that has to affect you as a team. You go in to a game against Barcelona and you're missing a couple of your first team guys. I'm sure that has to affect them mentally. As Lionel Messi drifts out wide here to Serginho Dest with a cross, and Pedri, sorry, not Coutinho, Pedri. Coutinho's still out injured. Pedri's shot was off the crossbar there, completely rattled it, and it's been dealt with by the defense.
He's still he already has his premier goal 2 games or so, but I'm actually surprised with how many shots he's getting off. A lot of our midfielders don't seem to get in the final third in that box, so it's really nice to see someone making runs, especially diagonally.
Fati, and oh my gosh, that's a miss. That is quite a miss from Antoine Griezmann. Barcelona with a quick breakaway there on goal.
Oh my. See, that's the problem with Griezmann lately. He's been missing really easy chances, and I think it's been pretty questionable. He had a couple problems against Juventus where he was hitting the post, but he hasn't been really clinical in the box, especially in the final third finishing.
Yeah, no, I see that point. I really do. I think for him right now, it's about building confidence, and I think that at least, even though he did miss a chance right now as he hit the side netting on the right hand side
Yeah,
after Pedri was able to break free, Fati with a shot, it deflected, it
sure.
was saved by the keeper, went out to Griezmann, and he just hit the right side netting. I still think it's about getting those right positions for the Frenchman. I think he's done that quite well,
Mhm.
as well as being able to help the team defensively, because that's something he brings that I don't think we see too many strikers
Mhm.
in at this level at least bring. As Jared Piqué passes that calmly back to Ter Stegen, who will have somewhat of a test today. Kiev might not be the highest scoring side, but they are definitely a side that can hurt Barca if they get too complacent. Ter Stegen, of course, just returning from injury and having just signed a new deal, extending his stay with the Catalans. But for Neto, it is it. You got to feel for him. I mean, he's had very good outings for Barcelona the couple of times he has been called upon, especially here at the start of the season. And despite the goal that Barcelona conceded against Alaves, I feel like he might feel a bit hard done by if he's just lost the starting spot instantly with no chance of a rebound. What do you think? What do you make of that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he had some great performances, and it's not like he's been having a lot of mistakes as well. That last game, it might have not even been in his fault in a way. Piquet kind of put him in an awkward spot with that pass back and like such a quick pace.
Yeah,
But at the same time, Mats has been the lead of our team for 5 or 6 years now. So it's tough to not give it to anyone else. And he's worked hard to get back into that spot. So I could see why Neto, he wants his chances to play, and obviously he got it and he did well. But when you have Marc-Andre Ter Stegen in your box, there's not a lot of
yeah,
goalies
yeah.
better than that man.
That is true. That is true. As we just saw there on the goal line technology proved that the shot by Pedri indeed was on the line, did not cross the line. So
Mhm.
rightfully, it is only 1-0. And Ansu Fati here on the left hand side, trying to create something, gets a lot of support from his teammates behind him, passes it back, but a man down for Dynamo Kiev, and it is Andrievsky, from what I can tell at least, as he was shooting there. Griezmann with a slide tackle that then gave the ball to Ansu Fati, but might have just clipped Andrievsky in the process.
Yeah.
He is now back up, and that is good news for Lucescu, the manager. Of course, as they have lost already quite a few players before this game, and losing another one here is the last thing they would want. And Barcelona trying to just keep control of possession, trying to show the play that they showed against Juventus in the last Champions League outing, a 2-0 victory. Um, and possibly, I think if you look at the way they were playing, you could argue that maybe it should have been more than 2-0.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, their offense, it felt like one of the first premier games when we were actually getting into their final third and getting shots off. And especially the game after that, too. The last two games, we've had our chances. We had around 20 shots for Salavez that, didn't end up working out for us.
Yeah.
But I feel like in some ways over another, we've been definitely better in our offensive third. Whether or not it's I think we've seen a lot more pressing in the midfield and making other teams make mistakes so we can counter on
Yeah,
them.
for sure. For sure.
So it's been a lot better though lately. We've had definitely offensive problems in the last couple of seasons, especially when Messi needs to come to the center to come help. And if we could get Messi on that right wing where he's comfortable and play players where they're comfortable, I think we'll be a lot better off.
Yeah, no, I definitely see that point. I think the thing that Ronald Koeman, as although some people were not too happy with his appointment, he has brought something to this Barcelona side. It seems like a rejuvenated side, and I think the fact that a lot of new young players have come into the team, brought in the new blood, like Francisco Trincao from Braga. You have Pedri joining from Las Palmas. Coutinho is coming back, looking like a new player, not the same player that he was before he went to Bayern on loan. And I think that's definitely helped. These players are hungry. They want to prove that they deserve to wear this Barcelona shirt. And I do think this team can go pretty far if they keep their heads cool and they keep just doing what they've been doing. Passing it around. As Serginho Dest frees himself from space excellently there, finds Pjanic in midfield. Busquets, De Jong runs into space now, looks for Griezmann, who just couldn't get the right first touch on it. back to Nesheret, and it's cleared out towards Supriyaha up front, and he just couldn't get to it. Barcelona in control again. And a long ball there by Messi, just ahead of Alba there. And Barcelona, despite the scoreline saying 1-0, it's a commanding 1-0 lead right now as things stand.
100%. As you were saying earlier, I think just the injection of youth, man. There's so many guys with urgency on the field looking to get after the ball, get into the box, beat a player on the dribble. There's just a lot more urgency nowadays, and that probably comes with the training with Koeman as well. I heard his trainings are a lot more rough on the players than previously with the last two coaches. So I think that just helps, man. You know, having guys with good conditioning, getting out there and being just urgent in general is important.
100%. I think I think they're trying to push each other. Healthy competition is what at least the way I see it. It's definitely brought a lot of healthy competition into the squads. Players like Ansu Fati now on the left-hand side, dribbling past two. The finish is blocked off by Nesheret. It's dealt with by Pedri, and he just couldn't keep it on the pitch. Goes out for a goal kick. And Ansu Fati there shimmying past one, between the second and the shot, very close, but blocked off by a very aware goalkeeper. He really is. He really is. 18. It's amazing. Speaking of players who are pretty young, it was actually Serginho Dest's 20th birthday yesterday, and he will be celebrating that by playing a game right after his birthday, starting in for Barcelona. And I want to say, I think he has been one of the best signings for this season. Mm-hmm. He's definitely been one of the standout performers, at least for me. Pushes forward there, blocked off by Rodriguez, who pushes past Dest and past Pedri. Now going into the box, he falls down, but the referee deems it a foul around the edge of the box for Rodriguez, and that was quite a run. That was quite a run by him.
Real close.
It was. I think that's one thing that they will try to hit Barcelona with is those quick counterattacks that a lot of teams now opt for, and they do work if you have quick, technically astute players. As you showed there, just really turned on the afterburners. Went past Dest, who was trying to catch up to him, and just wasn't able to do that legally. Yeah. It is a foul. Ter Stegen communicating to his defense and to the wall. And let's see if Kyiv can capitalize on this. It's driven in, dealt with by Barcelona. Fati, defending by the right corner flag, looks to dribble past the Dynamo Kyiv captain Tsigankov, and just couldn't make it happen without giving away a corner. He was cornered, to be fair to him. Didn't really have a lot of options there. Although it did seem like, off the replay, it seemed like it did hit the Dynamo captain before off his back. The last player.
Off his arm.
And that's across. De Jong heads it away. Piqué heads it away on the second occasion here. Pedri on the left-hand side looking to take advantage of the numbers they had forward Kyiv. But Barcelona now looking to just not rush it too much as Busquets pings it over towards Ansu Fati, who's got Dest on the overlap on the right-hand side. Dest immediately converged on by three Kyiv players. Back into Messi. Finds a pocket of space. And Barcelona just passing it around a bit here. Pedri, who seems to be playing more of a playing that left half space, it seems like, trying to combine with De Jong and Busquets, especially as he gets the ball here from De Jong, finds Miralem Pjanic in the middle. Messi back to the midfielder. Now De Jong pushes out on the left-hand side, finds Fati, immediately converged on, finds Pjanic now. A room for a shot here as he finds Messi. Messi with a beautiful ball, and it's blocked by the defense. Fati back to Messi with a shot, and it just skims past the post. Out for a goal kick, it seems. Or did it actually get – I think it actually hit a defender. on the way, but that was beautiful build-up by Barcelona. So patient. No, it was actually saved by Neshiret. Just got a fingertip to it, and that will be a corner for the Catalans as they try to extend their lead to a 2-0 lead here.
Okay.
At the Camp Nou. Messi to Pedri.
Yeah, what a good ball by Messi.
Cross, and that's a brilliant cross. And Fati met it with his head, but couldn't direct it into the back of the net. It goes past the side netting and out for a goal kick. And Kyiv can breathe a sigh of relief there. A lot of pressure put on by Barcelona.
They're penetrating.
No, it's another corner, actually. It's another corner.
I don't think it'll be long before we find our second. I don't want to jinx us, but right now they're playing pretty good penetrating football. I apologize. It's in my head a little bit. That's on me, guys.
That's okay.
But
that's okay.
When you're just able to cause chaos and do things that the defense isn't expecting, like we haven't seen many over the top through balls as we did the last 2 or 3 games. It's so nice to see someone just go over the top, make overlapping runs, getting in vertically. And I think we're seeing that a lot more often, letting guys take chances with their passes to open up and be creative.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think Barcelona right now are in this mental state of they just want to be able to just control the game and then just strike when the chance is there. Looking at how they're playing, they are playing quite patient football. They are trying to find those penetrating passes when they can find them, when they make sense, without forcing it too much. And I think that's what worked for them against Juventus, and I think that's what can work for them here today. And Fati has come close quite a few times as well. Just taking some questions from our audience here. And do remember that if you are watching this here, which we hope you are, do send us your questions. We'll be answering them throughout this live stream.
Yeah. Anything, either comments too, we'll be reacting. Just let us know what you're feeling about the game or whatnot. So first one, we have Charlie saying, how do you think De Jong is doing at center back? Decent so far.
Yeah.
For me personally. I mean, it's easy for a center defensive mid to get caught backpedaling, especially when you're on the back line. So it's a little bit uncomfortable for him probably. But so far, I mean, we haven't had too many problems other than that left flank with Serginho Dest giving the ball up and the guy making a run.
Yeah, no, I think that chance with Rodriguez was just what that was for me, at least. That was more the good attack from Rodriguez rather than the bad defense of Serginho Dest, because he just converged on him quickly, applied the pressure, and just turned on the afterburners and went past him. But I think for me, I think De Jong has, as he was doing last time he played there, he hasn't had a whole lot to do as a defender as he was doing against Alaves. He's just more so as an extra midfielder that's just staying a bit further back. And I think that's working well for him because it gives him a bit more space, kind of try and find those balls that he can ping down the line or, just ping it upwards up the field. I think that's something that he has been doing well. He has been driving the ball well. And yeah, I think he's been doing a good job. I mean, he's not a Clement Longley in defense, but I think he's been good. He's been solid. As we see him push forward here up to the halfway line, finds Messi, passes it to Pjanic, back to Messi now. Busquets, Pedri, quick two-touch football from Barcelona here. Fati to Alba on the left-hand side. Fati has been everywhere so far. He's been on the left side. He's been through the middle, been on the right, been inside the box, the edge of it.
Yeah.
Quite energetic as Dynamo Kyiv push forward here. Shepelev out on the right-hand side. It's passed out wide for the overlap. The cross in for Shepelev, and he's just wrestling there with PK almost. As PK wins that battle, but concedes a corner, not a penalty.
As each year goes on, these counters get scarier and scarier, it seems, with us. The backtracking from our center backs is definitely a lot better in the last several years. We had some speedy center backs. I know Araujo and Lenglet are decently pacey, as we haven't really seen in the past. But it's worrying, man. A lot of these teams are adapting to modern football, and they think that the counter is the most valuable way to get back on offense and get a score.
It is. As Kyiv here with a cross in, and it just gets kicked away by Ter Stegen. Goes out wide for Kyiv again on the ball, and they're pushed back to pass it past the halfway line. Now in their own half, Andrievsky was the furthest man back. They're trying to build something here slowly as Barcelona put on pressure. That's a good ball pinged out for Shabanov, who's pushed up the left back here. Inside for Rodriguez. Shabanov again. Rodriguez on the left. He's got a runner inside. Back to Rodriguez, who's almost isolated, but finds the left back in support. And Kyiv not doing too much, just trying to pass it around. A long ball was pinged through there, but it's into the safe hands of Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Barcelona can breathe again. De Jong drives forward here on the ball. On the left-hand side, got 3 men in front of him. Back to Busquets in a pocket of space. De Jong again. PK and Barcelona really haven't been too threatened so far in the first half.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we've been tested too much. Not too much.
They haven't. And as things stand, remember, this is the second game this is the third game for Barcelona in the Champions League. And as things stand right now, they are leading the table, of course. Both the games they've played so far against Ferencváros and against Juventus were victories, only conceding 1 goal in the process and scoring 7. And as things stand, if they win this game, they will remain top of the table with 9 points. Juventus, of course, facing Ferencváros right now, and that game currently a lead for Juventus, a 1-0 lead 24 minutes in. And as we near the opening half hour's end, what do you think Barcelona could change for the second half, or do you think they should change anything?
I think you just keep it as is. We've had a lot of chances. I mean, this could easily be 2 or 3-0. Griezmann definitely missed somewhat of an easy shot. So I think this league could have been a lot more expanded than it is right now. So I don't see anything too menacing from this Dynamo side. So I think we just keep it as is. Stay locked in. Keep trying to find the wings, creating space, widening the depth of the offense. And that's about it. Honestly, I don't see too much wrong with it.
I pretty much agree with that. I think Barcelona so far have been pressing well. They've been making good use of the ball, not risking it too much or not doing too many unnecessary things, not taking too many unnecessary touches. And I think that's if they keep doing that, this Dynamo Kyiv side, they have some quick players. They have some technically gifted players. Yeah. They haven't been able to trouble Barcelona as much as they would have liked to do. Now I think if we look at some of the questions from the live chats, specifically from YouTube here, Raymond says, how far do you think Fati can go? To be completely honest with you, I think he can go very, very far. I think he's an extremely talented player. His mentality is a really good mentality to have for a guy that's as young as he is. And I think getting the experience alongside players like Miralem Pjanic, Lionel Messi, Griezmann, Coutinho, experienced players like that, I think definitely help. I think that definitely helps him a lot. What do you think, Logan? How far can he go?
He could be one of the best players in the world at some point in the next couple of years. I mean, he's only 18 years old and he's scoring with an extremely high efficiency. He has all the moves in the deep side of the box. He seems like one of those players where you know what he's going to do, but you can't stop it because he's so quick in the box and he's going to cut in and he's going to finish right away. And he's pretty steady in his scoring. So I'm really excited to see how he ensues in the future, especially with the progression of our midfield making him better. So I'm just he could be one of the best players in the world in the near future too.
In many ways, I guess you could say he's reminiscent of a young Messi in some aspects.
Yeah.
Without putting that label on it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I feel we haven't had someone with this much hype since Messi. I think Bojan maybe a little bit, but he never really. I mean, he might have 100 club goals, but I think Ansu far outcries any sort of.
I think also the difference is with the thing with Bojan was that he had a lot of like mental pressure and mental issues on him. And I feel like because that's happened in the past, they kind of know how to tackle it. They know how to take care of the player and not let that get to him in the same way that it got to Bojan. I think that definitely also plays a role with the society now that we have where people pay more attention to mental issues and take them more quote unquote seriously. It's not as much of a taboo subject. And I think that definitely plays a role.
Yeah.
But I think Fati is he is one of those players where, as you said, you know what he's going to do, but you can't stop it because he's just that step ahead of you. Dest here on the ball, passes it to Messi on the right-hand side. Just tried to take a first touch outside of the defender right into space, but got blocked off by Rodriguez, who was back defending. And Kyiv get a throw in here in their own half on the left-hand side. PK gone up to push, and it almost paid off. Rodriguez now on the ball. Tackle as he makes the pass.
Charlie asked, why do you think Langlet – oh, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good.
Charlie asked, why do you think Langlet was dropped to the bench? Is he just being rested? I personally think, he's just being rested because I haven't seen anything about him. What do you think, Omar?
I do think it's a question of resting him, even if I definitely think it's a question of resting him because you want a player like him at full fitness. You don't want him to go and commit a rash challenge and get another yellow, even though it is in two different competitions. But that still carries over. I think it is a question of resting him, and De Jong has done quite well as a center back. And also, if Longley has taken somewhat of a knock against Hawwash, you wouldn't want to risk him in a game against Kyiv, especially with Barcelona having, as things stand, they do have the lead. And I believe mathematically, even if Juventus do win against Ferencváros and Barcelona lose against Kyiv, worst case scenario, Barcelona will still be atop the table. So there isn't really a whole lot at stake here. This game is more of a game for Barcelona to kind of take comfort in the driver's seat if they do win this and give them a bit of breathing room and a bit of wiggle room for playing different players in the Champions League to be able to kind of shift focus to La Liga fully. So I do think it's a matter of resting him. And I think it's a wise decision by Koeman to do so.
Definitely. I think he's been decent at intertwining the lineups and making sure players are somewhat getting rest for the most part.
Yes.
I mean, I'm getting to the point where, this game's definitely not important. I think we'll probably win outright in this game, and I don't think we're too worried about this result as well, just because we're at the top of the table, and we have a +6 goal differential, and no one else has anything near that. So points-wise, I think we seem to be through this stage. So he's just trying to figure out his lineup still because it's still relatively early. He's still trying to figure out which players fit where and how we can do better, and as well as filling in for Coutinho, who's been decent for us. So it's just a matter of intertwining his lineups and finding what works for us.
I'd even argue to say that Felipe Coutinho has been one of Barcelona's best performers since he returned. I don't think many players have been as consistent as he has been, and although some players have in some ways outshined him, you could say Pedri has been mesmerizing to watch. Ansu Fati, the same thing. But the consistency that Coutinho has brought with his performances since he returned from Bayern, I think, is something that people haven't really spoken about a whole lot. And whether that's because he's not a new young player coming in and you don't give that the same attention, or whether it's just because people genuinely haven't been as impressed is obviously up for interpretation. Yeah. But I think overall this Barcelona side does look a lot better than they did in parts of last season. And they'll be hoping to take this form both into the Champions League and into La Liga. And looking at the Hawwash game, you look at the numbers, and if you didn't look at the scoreline, you definitely think that Barcelona won that game. Do you think that was more down to the really solid defending and discipline of Hawwash, or down to the very poor finishing of Barcelona?
Yeah,
I think it's the former.
I won't discredit Hawwash. I think they played decently well too. I think it felt like it was too late for us when we put on the afterburners after the Hawwash had their red card, and it was just a little bit too late for us to get connected. So I'm looking for a little bit of urgency earlier in the matches because it looked like they started sprinting after they got the red rather than before. So, and obviously there's some unlucky plays at the end of the game where the ball could easily gone in the net just as much as it had gone wide. So it was just one of those matches that's just frustrating, especially with not winning in the previous couple of games too. But overall, I mean, it wasn't a bad performance after the red card. It was a lot of urgency, and we'll look to build off that. We need to get a win in the Liga, man. We need to get a win in the Liga.
Yes. Yeah, no, for me, I think the thing for Barcelona was that game. I don't think it was a bad performance by them at all. I think they did quite well, and I think they got unlucky in some cases. In some of those chances, that was just them being unlucky. But I also think Hawwash defense was really, 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 really solid and really disciplined. And the fact that Barcelona managed to get 25 shots against a team with playing as low as much of a deep block as Hawwash were playing with, I think is impressive in itself. Lionel Messi here drifting out from the right-hand side into space in the middle, finds Ansu Fati on the edge of the box, looked for the shot, opted for Dest. Dest with a cross in, and it's just headed away by an aware Kiev defense, cleared away to the left-hand side of the pitch. Rodriguez back to Shabanov.
Decent idea from Dest.
The defense.
Decent idea putting the box in a little bit early there. Putting the ball in the box a little bit early.
Yeah, I think it looked like he wanted a bit more power on that. I think that's what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Get it to drive a bit more.
Yeah.
As Shepelev here pushes up again. He's been the guy. He's been the one driving the play forward for Kiev. As Rodriguez here could have opted for the shot, opted for a cross, went a little bit further than he would have wanted to. Out to Tsigankov on the right-hand side. And for Shepelev.
Yeah, a little deep.
They're trying to get out of trouble there. And they've been forced back to their own defense, Kiev. A bit slightly ahead of the halfway line here. As Shabanov on the left-hand side. Looked like he was going to pass it to Rodriguez. Opted not to. Got past Dest beautifully and falls down. The referee says nothing illegal there. Not a penalty. Shabanov gets up without too much fuss. But that was a good move by him as he just
that was
bridged it past Sergio Dest. Trying to keep possession of it, keep a hold of it, just wasn't able to. Dest a bit. Had to pull out the muscles there and did so without breaking the law.
They're definitely targeting that left flank right now too. It seems a lot of the volume of runs are going through that left flank. So we'll keep an eye on that. Dest hasn't been too bad too in the press, and other than that, I don't see anything wrong so far with the defense. It's been pretty critical.
Yeah, I think they've Dest's role right now seems to be, rather than stay back and wait for the attack, it's been more push up and then have PK covering that run down the line.
Yeah.
Kev looking a bit dangerous here on the ball, outside on the right-hand side of the box here with a cross in. Dest heads it away, and it's cleared away now. Messi almost got a touch to it, but just blocked off there by Popov to his defensive partner Zabarny, and here they are on the right-hand side again.
Really
brilliant control there by Tsigankov out right on the right-hand side with a cross in, and the goal almost got in. The ball almost hit the back of the net there. With, I believe, Buyalski there was the one that headed that.
Wow. I mean, is that a save or what? First game back, and he's going to come back and make a save like that? That's pretty incredible. Good reaction.
That was
the ball's headed into the ground. When the ball's headed into the ground and you don't know where it's going to pop up, that's a pretty great save. Good.
It is indeed. That was a really good cross as well. Yeah. That was a really solid cross as well.
Now I'm getting a little.
I believe Kajiora, I think, was who crossed that. Yeah. And Buyalski couldn't get on the score sheet. We'll try to get something from a corner here as they're complaining about Fati being too close. And that header from the Kiev players there. Two players tried to get their head onto it, and they just weren't able to direct it onto the goal. Barcelona maybe trying a quick counterattack here, but opting for the back pass. Diam now to Alba, who's a bit more central, now pushes out wide again. Here's Dest for Messi. On the ball here again. And Barcelona now, you would think they would feel a bit shocked after those attacks because they started just all of a sudden. It looked like Kiev flicked the switch and just started attacking. But they don't seem like they're rushing it too much. It seems like it's the same Barcelona that had the ball 10 minutes ago. Trying to create something here as Pedri is coming in the left half space towards Fati. Alba now for Pedri back inside, finds Frenkie de Jong, who's pushed up. PK also pushed up. Actually the entire defense past the halfway line here as de Jong with a bit of pressure there from the Kiev players managed to keep the ball, find Messi. Now Des on the right-hand side with a good shimmy there to try and get past the defender. somewhat did. Went for the cross, and it was blocked. Barcelona now back on the ball here. Pjanic with a dagger to Griezmann, and Griezmann with a shot. And it sails past left side of Nesharet between the sticks.
Yep.
And it's going to be a goal kick for Kiev. 37 minutes in, 7 minutes to go.
Yep.
If you are enjoying this live commentary, if you're enjoying the content that Blogonogram brings and the Blogonogram Podcast Network, as you can see the logo there, brings to you, do consider becoming a Patreon supporter, a patron, over on patreon.com/BGPodNetwork. The link is down below us, right under us. And you can check that out. We have several tiers, which gives you several rewards depending on how much you donate, how much you pledge. You can pledge. Usually it's a one-time, it's a once-a-month subscription, but you can also just pledge once if you'd rather do that. What do you make of the first half, Logan? How do you think Barcelona and Kyiv have done?
I mean, I'm a little bit surprised. I think Barcelona came out so quick and ready to score that I think they kind of laid off the gas a little bit. I know they have a really high line, but I don't think they expected for this talented of a Dynamo team. I mean, they've done pretty well in the counters, and they've had a couple of their chances, probably somewhat more than we've had, other than the PK, obviously. But overall, I think Barcelona's been a little bit surprised by the bounce back from Dynamo after, because usually after a quick goal, you know, that'll just bring down the tempo of the game for Dynamo. But other than that, man, I think we need to find our second goal. We've been in a little bit of trouble here the second half of the first half.
Speaking of finding the second goal here, we just saw Messi get the ball from, I believe, a bounce, and he got the ball there, found Fati on the left-hand side who tried a finesse shot, and it wasn't the best of shots, but to his credit, he didn't have a whole lot of time. And that shot, if that was a goal, that would have been Barcelona's second 39 minutes in. As things stand, it's still a 1-0 lead for Barcelona. Somewhat a controlled lead, but Kiev have opted to just absorb the pressure of this Barcelona side and then try and hit them on the counter with Rodriguez and Tsigankov on the wings. I think for Barcelona, you look at this team and you see that they are creating, but it seems like they're lacking that final edge, whether that's a shot or whether that's a through ball. And given the players that they have on the bench, just to refresh, Carles Alanya, Brathwaite, Dembele, Ricky Puig, Lenglet, Trincao, Roberto, Firpo, Peña, and Neto. You look at those names, and I think some of those names very well could make a difference here. I think a player like Ricky Puig or Alanya could be that creative outlet to kind of find that last through ball that they're looking for.
Yeah, 100%. I think definitely with the 5 subs this year, it's important to get in all your players and get them time, get them minutes. So whenever they need to come into the game, you know, they're ready and they've been well studied in the game previously. I'd really love to see Pooch at some point. I think we lack a little bit of creativity in the final third. Pedri's helped a lot with that, and Coutinho, obviously. But I think there's just still that X factor missing with creating goals in the final third. It always feels like we're facilitating through Ansu's cut-ins and Messi as well, trying to go over the top. But we're definitely missing that last piece of link-up play that will get us a goal. And, you know, we could be one midfield away from that. I'm not sure. The double pivot doesn't help, it being more defensive. But in the near future, man, I'd love to see Pooch and Pedri playing together, and, you know, and somewhat have a little bit of an Iniesta Xavi connection. That's what everyone wants, right? Is somewhat something similar to that. I know it's tough in the double pivot, but I'd love to see something of that sort.
I was about to say, I think that's the fairy tale for many Barcelona fans. When you read and hear what's being said, is that they want to see a player like Pooch. They want to see these youngsters coming through, even though they might not be from the academy, the Barcelona academy. The fact that they are youngsters being molded in the club, the Barcelona fans want to see that, as they want to see, as you said, the next Xavi or Iniesta. As Pjanic here with a brilliant through ball to Dest in space. Dest looks for the cross in, and that is a shot, and it's blocked very well by Nesharet in goal. I think that was Pedri with the half volley, it seemed. And Barcelona back in possession. It was Pedri who took on that shot.
That's something we've been missing, is getting in crosses, just creating that little bit of chaos in the box to get some open windows. You know what I mean?
But for Messi with a shot, it deflects and it just sails high. Barcelona really putting on pressure now again as they absorb Kiev's pressure for a good 5-6 minutes. Putting pressure on again, Messi with a shot, and it looked like it was It bounced off of Zabarny, the left center back for the Russian side here. That was a
think they
good
heard us.
cross by
That we
Dest
need
as we look back at that. Pjanic's through ball broke the line there of defense.
Yeah.
Found Dest with a cross in as a cutback, actually, to Pedri, who just didn't get the power and direction he wanted on that. Although it was a solid effort. Barcelona again. Now Dest moved a bit towards the middle. Messi on the right hand side, cutting back in, shimmying past two. Now De Jong to Alba. Alba looks for Messi, can't find him. Looks for De Jong, and the Dutchman on the ball now to Pjanic in space, drifting in towards the middle. Could have opted for looked like he was going to go for a shot actually, but went for PK instead. 42 minutes in, 3 minutes to go of regular time here. Pjanic tries a cross in towards Messi, and it's just blocked off by his teammate Pedri, who was running on, trying to either create space for the cross and drag a defender with him, or maybe even give him an option to pass to.
Unlucky.
That was quite unlucky. But I think both teams will be happy with their performances going into halftime. For me, I don't think Barcelona have to do a lot of things differently this game in the second half, at least. Going into the upcoming games now, considering that they have La Liga, of course, this weekend against Real Betis on Saturday. That is also a game that you maybe for the neutral wouldn't look at and say, well, that's going to be a very tough game. Although looking at La Liga, it definitely will be a tough game. I think for Barcelona now, the focus is on trying to, if anything, win this game. If they can't do that convincingly through the scoreline, then of course that's not a bad thing. But I think for Barcelona, another focus would be on winning this game and going on to the next one with that confidence. Now 2 games on the bounce. To look back on the comments here, the live comments from our viewers, Charlie says Ter Stegen is back. He is indeed, and he has. I believe that was actually from when he made that save earlier off the header from Bojalski, which was quite a save. And he says Kyiv not out of this game yet. Barca need another goal, hopefully from Griezmann. I do think Antoine Griezmann could make use of a. I think he would very much benefit from another goal here. Of course, scored in his last outing for Barcelona against Alaves, and he will be looking to extend that streak from one game to 2. As Messi looking to combine it with Pedri does. Griezmann back to Messi, and it bounces for Ansu Fati with a shot, and Neshret with a really solid save there, as he just caught onto the ball there, not allowing him to get much in.
I mean, great save. Nothing you can do about that.
That was a fantastic save. Logan, what do you make of the first half so far? Now looking into it, it's a 1-0 scoreline. And
well, that last burst of chances was pretty nice to see that they had some urgency going in the half, and they didn't just give it up going into the half and said, hey, we're going to have a stalemate here at the end of the half. We're all tired. It was nice to see them going for that second goal and understanding that they need that due to the last chances that Dynamo had. But overall, I think, we could easily seen 2 or 3 goals there. So it's a little bitter, but, going into the half with a lead is always nice, right?
For sure. Speaking of that, it is halftime. Barcelona do have a 1-0 lead. And just to look at some stats, some numbers here, as you were saying, Barcelona have had quite a lot of chances. 13 shots for Barcelona, 2 for Dynamo Kyiv. 7 shots of those 13 for Barcelona were on target. Both of Dynamo Kyiv's shots were on target. And I believe both were saved by Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, one of them in a heroic manner. Possession-wise, Barcelona have attempted 419 passes with 93% accuracy. Kyiv 222 with 86% accuracy, 66% possession for Barcelona. The numbers suggest that Barcelona have been in control, but Kyiv have also been absorbing the pressure very well, not allowing them to do a whole lot. How do you think the approach will be for the second half? Do you think we'll see a more daring Kyiv, or will it be more or less a repeat of the first half?
I think they're going to start pressing a little bit more because they need a result as well to in order to get into the next stages. So I think they're going to be a little bit more risky, which will allow Barcelona to penetrate their back line a little bit easier. So I think we'll see a couple more goals from Barcelona in the next half. We might see one from Kyiv just because they've been decent, They haven't been terrible, honestly, on offense. We've had a couple close calls. But I think they're going to open up a little bit because they realize they need a result and they need points, and Barcelona is going to be able to counter off that, and score a couple goals.
Yes, I mean, you do mention that they do need results. Kiev, as things stand right now, are third in the table. Barcelona in first place right now with a 1-0 lead against Kiev. Juventus second place with a 1-0 lead against Ferencvaros, the Hungarian champions. And then you have Kiev in third and Ferencvaros in fourth. Both the two latter teams have 1 point each. And if Ferencvaros want a chance, they need to win today against Juventus. If they do, the table will flip a bit. So it will be Ferencvaros in second, then Juventus in third. If Barcelona manage to beat Dynamo Kyiv. So the table can really take a very different shape just through the Juventus game, ultimately. Because for Barcelona right now, 6 points in the table could go to 9. And if it does go to 9, they will feel quite comfortable. I think this table, this group at least, could have been a bit more. It seems like you look at the table as a neutral and you go, okay, we have Barcelona, we have Juventus, and then we have two teams that don't really stand a chance, a big chance at least, in the group. They have to surprise. They are the underdogs in that group. Whereas you look at some of the other groups and it's really anyone's guess.
Yep. Yeah, we were rather lucky with our selection, obviously, and we got lucky with the Juventus game. They were definitely undermanned, obviously not having Ronaldo, and yeah, I wouldn't say I wasn't really worried about the selection of choices. Obviously, Ferencvaros and Kyiv, not too much of a challenge for us in a sense. But I must say, man, I was a little bit worried about the Juventus result and what would happen after the latter that. But us getting that win was so important, and it basically meant that we were through it to a certain extent. So obviously, if we win this game, we'll most likely be in. Obviously, so
yes, I mean, yeah. I mean, right now for Barcelona, it really is. If they just keep doing what they have been doing, they're pretty much going to go through to the next round of the Champions League.
Yeah.
And that's definitely something they will be looking to do. I mean, the positive thing for Barcelona fans as they are watching this is that the team doesn't seem to have changed a whole lot stylistically. From the team that we saw against, say, an Alaves or a Juventus. I think what Barcelona were – it's also hard to say that Barcelona were lacking a cutting edge against Alaves because they had 25 shots.
Yeah, of course.
That's still something. I mean –
yeah.
It's quite tough because you look at it one way and you can say, okay, well, Barcelona haven't really – they didn't score. They weren't clinical.
Yeah.
But that's also down to the fact that was the pressure Alaves put on. They forced them to take shots that they maybe shouldn't have taken.
Yeah.
The keeper had a really solid game. And I think for Barcelona, this game, I think is I don't see a repeat of what happened against Alaves. But I do think that it will be one of those games where they really have to grind out the result, at least in the final third.
Yeah, I mean, Kyiv, they need a result. They're not going to let us off easy, obviously, especially in the Champions League. There's a new press to play in this area. But it makes you think, too. It feels like our results in Champions League and League have been just polar opposites, such as, we've dropped a lot of points in the last 3 or 4 games in the league. And something we've never really seen before, we dropped to 12 or 13th. So it's interesting to see how we get up for the Champions League games, and then we aren't able to play the same way we do in La Liga as we do in Champions League in a sense. And I know it's a small sample size, but it is a little bit concerning.
It's still quite noteworthy. Yes, I agree. It is one of those things where it seems like Barca's focus has shifted from being on La Liga and Champions League being second priority to the opposite now. And I think for Barcelona now, they have reached a point where they have won La Liga a good handful of times in recent years. And they want to sort of get back into the Champions League habit as well. I think that's definitely something they will be looking for. And just to get back to some advertising here, if you do want to listen to podcasts, we have 2 on the Dogonogram Podcast Network. We have 80 and Barca which is a Spanish podcast, and the Barca Talk Pod, which is in English. And we actually have podcasts coming out every Friday as well as every Monday. And on Friday, there will be a match review and a Q&A with the questions from the Patreons that are pledging. So if you'd like to be a part of that, do go to patreon.com/bgpodnetwork. The link is in the description below if you are on YouTube. And if you're not on YouTube, it is in the main link. If you just go to Patreon, you can find Blogronogram's podcast network there, and you should be able to get that going. We also do have some merchandise, so if you would like to get yourself a nice hoodie or a nice t-shirt or a hat, a beanie, you can go to blogronogram.com/shop and use code STREAM10 for 10% off. That is code STREAMTEN for 10% off your next purchase. So going to look at some of the comments here.
What's going on, Fred?
Fred is here.
Nice overlay.
Fred is actually a good friend of mine. We have a podcast together. It's more on the laid back side. It's called the Lost in Translation podcast. So if you have nothing to do and you have half an hour or an hour to spare and you just want to listen to two people talk and have fun, do check that out. It's on your favorite streaming platform, most likely. So looking at this game here, of course, not any yellow cards and not any red cards. It's been one of those games where it seems like the teams are going to the breaking point, and that's it. They're not crossing the line. They're not getting into too many confrontations with the referee. And he has been, you could argue maybe he has been quite lenient because there have been 7 fouls in the game in total.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it hasn't been too chippy yet. Maybe later in the game when we see Kyiv need a result, so they'll get a little bit more pushy and on people and, need to get the ball, retract the ball back. I haven't seen anything too crazy other than the PK, obviously. But that wasn't in itself. That was more of like an unlucky tackle. Obviously, it's just hard to measure the pace of Messi, how quick he is, and he was just late to the tackle. It wasn't anything too chippy, but other than that, no, man. It's been a pretty clean game. It's nice to see a clean game like this. Just straight through, thorough, free flowing. It's nice.
Just pure football.
Yep, exactly.
Just to give you
drama. I know people like the drama, but it's nice to see some free flowing football without play being stopped every 5 minutes.
That is true.
Yeah.
Just to give you a recap from around the world, Champions League football, we have 6 games going on right now. Of course, Barcelona, Dynamo Kyiv that we're commentating on here. But we also have Ferencváros against Juventus, as we've mentioned. Juventus currently lead 1-0 away from home. Club Brugge against Dortmund is a 3-0 lead for Dortmund at halftime. Is being played in Belgium, so away from home. Sevilla have gotten a red card and are down 2-1 to Krasnodar at home at the Sanchez-Pizjuan. Chelsea leading 2-0 against Stade Rennes, who already have a red card as well. And Red Bull Leipzig and PSG is 1-1 at the half. So looking at it, it seems like it's one of those nights where really not a whole lot is going to happen. It's going to be one of those games where teams are going to go into the game, do what they absolutely have to do, maybe a bit more, and then get out. It's not going to be one of those games where you see many confident teams or teams that are just going to completely hammer the scoreline down. A shock victory somewhat, I think, for the neutrals earlier today, right before this game, as Istanbul Başakşehir beat Manchester United 2-1.
Yeah.
United getting a late consolation goal. Actually, not that late. It was in the first half, on the brink of halftime, by Anthony Martial. And that was after Dembaba and Edin Visca made it 1 and 2-0, by only scoring 12 minutes in. So it's one of those nights where it is Champions League at its very finest. It's not – you do have some games where the scoreline looks like a tennis scoreline. But for the most part, it's quite – the games are quite even.
Yeah, it's been a little bit vanilla tonight. Nothing crazy. No outstanding performances. Just good hard-nosed football, obviously. It was definitely surprising to see obviously, Man U isn't the Man U they once were, but it's still surprising to see, an English Premier League team losing to a team like Istanbul. And what a name it is to hear Demba Ba in 2020 play scoring against Man U. That's a pretty decent storyline, to be honest with you.
It really does. It really does bring back some memories.
Yeah,
Demba Ba is one of those players that just he really had a rise for a while, and then he just got off the grid.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like.
Yeah, he signed his big contract and he kind of fell off a little bit. He had his Chelsea days as well, but yeah, man, he exploded on the scene and he left just as vibrantly.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did. Looking at the comments here, we have Fred who's talking to you, saying, "What's up, Logan? How you surviving today?"
Doing good. I'd be a lot better off if Barcelona was up by multiple goals. Doing all right. I'm doing all right.
Looking at Charlie here again, saying the German teams are scoring big in this round of games, worrying for everyone else. That is actually true. That is something I did notice.
Yeah.
Looking at the games, of course, Dortmund 3-0. Leipzig only won 1, but still a tough game against Paris. Still quite impressive. You look at Bayern, obviously 6-2, Mönchengladbach 6-0 yesterday, of course. Quite a round of Champions League football. I mean, yesterday it seemed like it was more of a high-scoring round, at least. You have to remember now is halftime, so there's still another 45 to go, and everything can happen. But it doesn't allude, this first half doesn't allude to the fact that there will be tons of goals when we're done with the full 90. Of course, Porto beat Marseille 3-0 yesterday. Real Madrid just about edged a victory against Inter Milan 3-2. And Liverpool completely smashed Atalanta out of the park with 5-0 and a Diogo Jota hat-trick. So
yeah,
it has been quite a round of Champions League football, but it seems like teams today will take it a bit more easy. Also knowing the fact that they have league football, not just La Liga, but league football, also definitely a focus for those teams.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Champions League early stages, you already have an idea of who's going to win. I think teams understand where they're at and where they stand in their group for the most part. So they have to, make the best of that as well. But they also want to focus on their league, man. That's important too, especially with these lower level teams. They don't really stand a chance in Champions League, and they know that, and they're just trying to get the best results they can to upheave their club and also do well in league. So there's a lot of teams focused on both sides of it.
For sure.
What's up, Abdul? Sorry, we got a sub guys in the chat. Gotta let him know we see him.
Nice. How you doing, Abdul? Let us know how you're doing, and we hope everyone here is doing fine. We hope you're all staying sane and staying safe. Obviously, with a global pandemic going on, it's not as easy to stay sane, and it is quite tempting to not stay safe for some. But nonetheless, we hope that you are staying sane and you are staying safe, and that you're all okay. And Abdul says he's good. That's good to hear. That's very good to hear. And we are nearing the start of the second half.
Let's do this.
For Barcelona and Dynamo Kyiv. And the half is underway here for Barcelona and Kyiv. Dynamo Kyiv starting with possession here now, all the way back in their own half, as a matter of fact. And, of course, just to give you a snappy reminder, if you just tuned in, welcome to the stream. And Barcelona got a lead early on, 5 minutes in, on a penalty call that Lionel Messi converted 5 minutes in, sending it to the left side of the keeper of Nesharet in goal. As the second half starts, it's no changes from either of the managers. Same lineups. We'll see if it's the same formation. Kyiv looking a bit more energetic here as they're breaking away. And that's a good run. And Ter Stegen with a save and a half to deny Tsigankov, who had broken through the defense there. Good build-up there by Kyiv, really. Tsigankov just getting the better of Alba, trying to chip it over Ter Stegen, who had gotten down, but got up just in time to make the save. And
great
it's a
save,
corner
space.
Definitely is good corner here for Kyiv, and it's a goal. That's the equalizer, but it's called offside. It is called offside. Referee He's talking, and he seems like he is going for the review here. They, of course, played the short corner. It was crossed. No, it seemed like the ball actually – I don't think it was an offside. It seemed like the ball went off the pitch as it was crossed in. Is what
Okay.
it seems like maybe. But that is a bullet of a header from, I believe, Kajota. I think that's who – I think he's the one that headed it. But
And they are looking to change that rule, FIFA. They actually Arsene Wenger was said in the headlines that he would like to see that rule change where the ball can leave the field of play in the air and come back in rather than just stay in full time, which I agree with. I think if the ball doesn't touch the ground out of bounds and it's still in play in the air, I think that's fine. Obviously, it didn't help us. It helped us there, but
yes, I see your point. Just to confirm, it was actually Kajota who had gotten the header onto it there. A good header right past Ter Stegen, but it was called back as the ball was out of play. And just to refresh, just to give you a quick recap, the lineups for the second half. Ter Stegen, Dest, Piqué, Frenkie de Jong. In defense was Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, and Pjanic, a double pivot. Pedri, Lionel Messi, Ansu Fati, and Antoine Griezmann make up the Barcelona 11 on the pitch. On the bench, we have interesting names: Carlos Alanya, Martin Brathwaite, Dembele, Ricky Puig, Langley, Trincao, Roberto Firpo, Iñaki Peña, and Neto. As for Dynamo Kyiv, their starting 11 is Nesheret in goal, Kejora, Zabarny, Popov, Shabanov in defense, Shepelev, Andrievsky in a double pivot, Siganskov and Rodriguez on the wings, Boyalski playing right behind Supriyaha, who is up front. And on the bench for Kiev is Benjamin Verbic, Depena, Lednev, Clayton, Ruzin, Sirota, Ignatenko, and Morgun. Neither of the teams have made a change as we are 49 minutes in. And it has been it's been an interesting game as we see some players warming up on the sidelines. And it looks like the teams will be opting for some changes very soon.
Is that Dembele? Was that our boy?
It looked like it was Ousmane Dembele who was warming up. Yeah, I think he is I think he could do some damage here. The only question is, who do you take out? Who do you think would be the sub? Because I think it would be a shame to take out Fati because I think Fati he's bringing that edge.
Yeah.
Pedri obviously a player that has brought a lot of energy and brings a lot of defensive contribution. But depending on what Barca would want from this game, I could see Pedri being the one to leave and then putting Messi in behind Griezmann with Fati and Dembele on either side of him.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think we need to inject a little bit of pace into the lineup a little bit. Obviously, Dembele had a great game last game. He used his pace really well. He was able to break down the sideline. Man, that guy can literally just touch the ball 15 feet ahead of him and just run after it and beat people all just like that. So, I mean, that's just like you can't teach, and it's a great way to create space and attack. So
he definitely is really good at creating space and making use of it. And I think that is something Barcelona could really use here in this game is that injection of pace to catch them on the break. Although Barcelona aren't playing that counter-attacking football right now, but it does help to have a winger as quick as Dembele. Pedri, obviously, as he even said in his last press conference for Barcelona, more comfortable in the number 10 role, which he has somewhat been playing this game, and I think it shows. But I think if Barcelona do want to bring on Dembele, it should be Pedri who should come off simply because of the fact that having Ansu Fati, Messi, Griezmann, and Dembele in a front four would be a very, very big positive for the Catalans, I think.
Yeah, Gabriel said, just reported Lenglet had issues on his right leg before the game. Wow. Okay. So I guess it's not rest, it's actual injury, which is kind of worrying considering our center back depth is not great right now. That means Araujo is also injured if he's not in the lineup.
Yes, he is as well. That's why I said earlier about the Longley absence. Is that I'm pretty sure it's that he took a knock during the Alaves game, which is why he was subbed off for De Jong. And so Barcelona not wanting to play him this game, at least from the start, from the get-go, makes sense because it's not one of those games that they absolutely have to win. It's one of those games where it would be nice if they won.
Yeah.
They do want to win this game, but it's not an absolute necessity. As Barcelona get a corner here, played short by Pedri and Messi, and Kiev get possession back. De Jong pushing all the way up to force a corner, forces a throw-in for the Catalans here. And Barcelona trying to put on pressure again. Messi takes a throw-in. That's a rare one. Finds Alba on the left-hand
On the other
side.
side
Now
of the field.
broken through here. Great ball by Alba. Trying to shimmy the defender there. Tsigankov gone back to defend here, actually, the left winger. Pjanic chests that down to De Jong. De Jong pushed back. Finds Busquets. And now Barcelona just playing it around the box, trying to retain possession without doing too much. Dest to Fati, who just skips away from the defender twice, actually, from Buyalski, who's come back to defend. Here's Messi now on the edge of the box, looking for a pass through. Finds Busquets, who finds Dest on the overlap. Dest cuts back in to Messi on the edge, converged on very quickly by 4 players, and they can try to break away here. Kyiv, Rodriguez up against PK, goes back inside. That's a dagger of a through ball. Held off is De Jong by, I believe that's Tsigankov, and
What a save.
They almost got the goal. No, it was actually Supriya who almost got a goal there. Rodriguez, very, very good play from him. On the left-hand side, cuts inside, passes it between 2 to Supriya, who has to hold off De Jong as he's taking on the shot. He does get the shot away, but Ter Stegen made himself just big enough to be able to block that. And it will be a corner.
Twice one of the best keepers in the world.
He is. I think
first game back and he's doing this well and comfortable. It's pretty incredible. And I think when you're Neto and you're looking at this, you're like, well, what else can I do? I had some great games, but then you see this guy and he's pretty incredible. So Ter Stegen can't be denied in most senses, man. He's pretty incredible.
He is an incredible keeper. I think for many people, the worry, at least from what I heard when I was talking to some Barcelona fans as well, was that he has been out for a while. Mm-hmm. So how will he come back? And when do you put him back? And do you put him back gradually? Mm-hmm. Koeman has opted to just see him in training and has obviously deemed that he has done well enough to warrant a spot in the starting 11 for a game against a tough Dynamo Kyiv team who, despite not getting a lot of shots away, are absorbing the pressure of Barcelona very well and then striking on the counter when needed, which is exactly what they did there. Rodriguez did a great job coming in from the left side where he seemed isolated, cut back in, drifted inside, and then released Supriya with a good chance. Mm-hmm. But Barcelona are looking to respond. Griezmann has been you could say he's been quiet. He's been quiet in the first half. But then again, they haven't. That's mainly because Kyiv haven't let him have the ball a whole lot.
Yeah.
I think that definitely plays a role.
Yeah, that's been probably the problem with him is he hasn't been able to track back and get the ball in the deep block, and he's had to move to the wing to get some facilitation on the ball. He's not great on the ball. He's not a great dribbler. He's just a clinical finisher in the box for the most part. I think that's what Charlie said earlier. He said he could see Griezmann being pulled. And I think I could as well. He hasn't been as part of the offense, and maybe we need to inject a little bit of pace to get past his deep block.
I think Barcelona's main issue is that you need a player who, on one hand of it, you need a player that can make those runs in behind, but you also need players who can come back and help build. The problem for Barcelona has been, at least the way I see it, is that they have been building around the box. They've just been around the box. They haven't been able to get inside. Hence, the only goal of this game so far, just to remind you, being in the 5th minute off of a penalty that didn't warrant neither a yellow nor a red card, just a talking to, but it was a penalty. So it's been one of those games where I think no striker really would be able to do a whole lot in this game.
Yeah, we definitely need another goal. I'm not too comfortable right now, so we'll see how that develops. I think it's pretty. They're playing pretty urgent right now, which is nice. But I mean, Kyiv has had some really close chances, especially that last one. It's getting close to where if they get another one, they might put it in.
I could definitely see that. I mean, they have been a dangerous side.
They're due.
What do you think would be the strategy for Barcelona? Do you think they should push, or do you think they should try and just keep doing what they are doing?
I think they should keep playing the way they're playing, but I think they need some fresh legs right now. I think they need to, inject a little bit of some just youthful Dembele. I would like to see that, some Trincao maybe on the attack that can provide some sort of quick dribbles in the middle. It seems like it's just getting so blocked up on top of the box right now.
It does. It does. I think as we actually see a free kick here for Lionel Messi to be taken by Lionel Messi.
We need a Messi free kick, Omar. We haven't seen one in a bit, and he scored so many last year. I'd love it. I just need to see one soon here.
It would be. I do think him scoring this would be really good for Barcelona. It is in what you would call Messi territory, right? Before it's, I would say, it's not. Yeah, it's right. It's pretty much right before the D, right before the edge of the box. Yeah, and he takes the shot here, and it's almost gone in, but a heroic save by Nesheret in goal as it was heading towards the top left corner, but Nesheret had other ideas. That is a quality shot. It was going into the top left corner there. It really was.
I mean, this is a goalie duel right now.
It is
like an old-fashioned goalie duel. He's been pretty incredible as well.
And there he is, picking out the corner again, releasing Rodriguez with a great throw. And he has support here on the left, on the middle, and on the right side, drifts towards the middle. And maybe that pass just a bit too late as Barcelona get the ball back off a Rodriguez cross. That
Messi back on defense there.
He was, wasn't he?
Incredible.
And now he's back on offense. Griezmann,
he's tracking
back a bit to. Yes, and you see Griezmann there also trying to combine again, trying to help build up the play. Drifted back, and now Pedri on the ball, getting it from Ansu Fati.
I mean, this goes to show how important it is you score when you're bringing up your whole line, all your center backs, every back to the 18 box, that you need to score because you're going to get countered and they're going to get chances no matter what. So it's important to score when you have the chance. To be extremely clinical when you play like this.
It is indeed. I'll just need to find a charger. Just give me 1 second.
No
I'll let you solo this for a little while.
Yeah. So, guys, let me know how you think the game's going right now. That free kick. I mean, any other keeper, it feels like that would have gone in. That was placed perfectly. What a save. Full stretch. Pretty incredible. Good shot, good save. Good football. Ter Stegen reminds me of a nice hockey keeper. Yeah, I mean, that goal looks so small when he's in it, man. He stretches out his arms. He lowers the angle, comes out, blocks it. He's been pretty incredible today. On his first game back, too, with a knee injury. Talent. Griezmann off. There you go, Charlie. You're right. Called it. Dembele for Griezmann. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that as well. Ooh. Why is it panning to Sergio Roberto? Who did Sergio Roberto replace? What was it? Who's he in for? Dest? Or no? Or a midfielder? Pjanic for Roberto? Okay. Pjanic had a good game today, I think.
Sergio Roberto replaced Milan Pjanic, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an interesting substitution. I think Barcelona now are at a point of the game where they want to kind of try and push forward a bit more. And Pjanic does provide control, but Roberto provides that engine, that workhorse. He is that workhorse type of midfielder, really.
He's the Swiss Army knife, man. He can play, 3 or 4 positions on the pitch. He's played winger. He's played left back. He's a Swiss Army knife.
He definitely is.
He has that intelligence.
He's shown that. He has shown that in the past few years, and I think that's part of the reason why he's still in this Barcelona team, considering that there have been transfer windows where you would look at it as a neutral and think Barcelona do need to sell some players, as we saw last summer. But no, his versatility definitely plays in his favor.
Yep.
As Kiev under a bit of pressure. It seemed like under no real pressure there, as Andrievski almost pinged that out of play towards the left side, but Shabanov caught up to it.
Yep.
And here they are on the break.
Yeah, Gabriel looks slow,
there,
especially in attacking.
Now De Jong to Ter Stegen, and they don't want to repeat of the last episode between Neto and PK. They keep the ball there. Dest combines with Dembele, but referee says out of play, and it's going to be a throw-in for the away side. Quick reminder, 61 minutes in. It's still 1-0. The goal came from a messy penalty in the 5th minute. I'm Omar Hawwash, and this is Logan Steinle, your commentator and co-commentator, respectively. Thank you for tuning in. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe if you're on YouTube, follow if you're on Twitter, or like if you're on Instagram, on Facebook, and Instagram. So, looking at this second half, with less than half an hour to go, 61 minutes in, 62 minutes in, where do you think we'll see another goal, Logan?
It looks like Barcelona's still trying to get a goal because usually when they get a 2 or 3-0 lead, they fall back and they slow down a little bit. And they don't need to do too much, man. I mean, when you have a 2 or 3 goal lead against a team like Kyiv, where they're not too malicious towards your defense, so I think they're looking for one more just in case because they don't want to leave this place with a point, man. I think playing this team at home and we don't get the 3 points would be a little bit disappointing, especially with the early lead and how many chances we've had. So I think we're definitely looking for one more, considering our center backs are in halfway through their half. So we're definitely
that's true. Yeah. Yes, that's also a noticeable thing is that Barcelona have just been pushing up. Mm-hmm. The entire defense pretty much is past the halfway line as De Jong tracks back there, fakes a pass, does a turn instead, finds Alba, and Barca can push again. Here's Sergio Busquets, looks for a pass, blocked off. Roberto picks it up on the right-hand side, looks for Dembele, who cuts back in. Dembele out again, the edge of the box, dropped 2 bodies, and it's on the edge of the box here. Here's Alba on the left-hand side with a cross and a header, and it's denied by Nesheret. Roberto with a diving header by Sergio Roberto. They're trying to take advantage of what was a really solid cross, but just couldn't beat a keeper who has been amazing for Kyiv, to say the least.
We're not short of chances. He's been pretty incredible, especially in their deep block. They have 8 or 9 guys behind the ball. Another decent save into the ground. Obviously, that's not easy to save. When a ball goes into the ground, it's a lot harder because you're trying to direct and see where it bounces to. It's a pretty good save again. A little lucky to go right into his body, but presence of mind in the right position.
It definitely is. It's been one of those games where, as you said, it is a keeper jewel as he there punches away the corner, and the ball is cleared. Rodriguez thought he might have a shot. Dest had other ideas. Messi strips the ball away from the Kyiv player. Here's De Jong, left-hand side, finds Ansu Fati with a cross in, and it's a goal, and it's Gerard Piqué who extends the lead for Barcelona.
We needed that goal. That's why he was in the box. He tends to do that, especially in the ends of games when people get tired. But he needed that, I guess. We needed that. Good job.
That's. I think that's the thing that PK brings. He's one of those players that you do expect to see him pushing up, especially in the latter half hour, in the second half, depending on how the game's going. But can we just talk about that play? De Jong with the ball for Ansu Fati that looked quite simple. Fati with a brilliant cross.
Yeah.
PK just leaped.
Pinned it, yeah.
Ahead, just leaped among those players, those Kyiv defenders. I think he edged Popov there, if I'm not mistaken, to get that header in. Yeah. Diverge it right past Nesheret, who has had a fantastic game.
I mean, how great is that to see Fati? When everyone says, his efficiency, he can dribble and he can score, and that's what he does at left wing. But to drop in a ball like that at his age and be able to have that vision and just put a pinpoint accuracy of a pass to PK, that's pretty incredible. He can pass too. He's not just a scorer.
He definitely can, and he's shown it there. Just to give you a quick recap of the lineup.
Hey, John, it's 2-0.
It is 2-0. Barcelona have made 2 changes so far out of their allowed 5, and their lineup looks as such. Ter Stegen in goal, Serginho Dest, Jordi Alba in the fullback positions, Piqué and De Jong in the heart of defense, Sergio Busquets and Sergio Roberto partner up in midfield, Pedri, Lionel Messi, Ansu Fati, and Ousmane Dembele, the front 4. Kyiv's lineup unchanged from the start. Nesheret in goal, Kidjora, Zabarny, Popov, and Shabanov in the back 4. Sheplev, Andrievsky make up the double pivot. Tsigankov and Rodriguez out wide, and Boyalski right behind Supriyaha, who plays up front. So, looking at the bench for Barcelona, you have names like Carlos Alenya, you have names like Brathwaite, Ricky Puig, Trincao, still waiting to be used, Firpo. Who do you think Barcelona should bring more players in, or do you think they'll be fine with this, considering it is a 2-0 lead?
I think they're good now. I think they're going to relax a little bit. I think Koeman will hopefully make some experimental, because, I mean, why not give Puig minutes right now? 2-0, versus this team with how many points we lead and goals above we are in the stage. Why not give someone?
That is a brilliant, not to interrupt, but that was a beautiful save by Marc-Andre Ter Stegen. Boyalski sent through. I believe that was Boyalski.
What a first game
through there. And one-on-one looks to almost seemed like chip it past or shoot it right past Ter Stegen. But the keeper had other ideas. The German shot stopper has had a really solid game for a first game back after injury. It's almost as if him and Nesher have been battling to see who can come out on top. And so far, Ter Stegen's side have been more clinical. As Messi slaloms past 4, and the shot with his right foot just weak enough.
Wow.
To not make it past the door, not make it past the doormat there. That is Messi at his very best.
Yep. That's incredible. Nothing else to say about that. That's just Messi. That's how you describe that. That's just Messi. That's the only way to describe him nowadays. Just got to watch him.
It's Messi being Messi. Yeah, you just have to. He's one of those players really where you have to watch him to be able to see what he brings. Because of course you can look at the statistics, and that the same goes for any player. You can look at the statistics, but saying he made a pass and then looking at what the pass was, for instance, with that Ansu Fati cross, it wasn't just it was a really, really well-timed cross. And that may be exaggerating it a bit, but Messi is one of those players where you have to watch him to really see what he does bring to a team.
Hey, John's boys, it's 86. It's 2-0. Messi scored in the 5th minute, and recently Piqué scored a header goal off a cross from Fati. It's 2-0.
And Piqué in the 65th, extending the Barcelona lead here. And Sock says, hi to you. John's boy is 86. I believe we did refresh the scoreline as Dembele takes a shot on the right-hand side, right into the hand of Nesheret there.
What about you, Omar? Do you want to see anyone in particular to come off the bench and get a couple minutes?
I think for me, as you said, I agree with you in the sense that I think Barcelona could make use of experimental changes, as Sergio Busquets is completely taken down there by Boyalski, who was trying to tackle. Yep. He was trying to tackle the Barcelona midfielder, and does get a yellow card for it, but it is. I don't think it was a tackle with malicious intent. He was trying to take the ball and just dove in a bit too late for the slide tackle, right in behind Busquets.
Yeah.
And again, looking back at that shot, at that chance for Dynamo Kyiv, right 2 minutes ago, by I believe Tsigankov actually is I think who that was. Yeah. It is a good save by Ter Stegen, but it's also a really good breakaway by Dynamo Kyiv. They sent him through on goal. The left foot, clearly he was a bit off balance because of the pace that he was going at and the speed the ball was going at. Shoots it to his right. Ter Stegen saves it without too much hassle, but he still had a lot to do there.
You could see Koeman's displeasure in these last couple of frames. Such as last game, he doesn't look too happy with the way we've played and the way we've created chances. That seemed to be a mental lapse on defense, and you don't want to just give up a goal immediately after you just go up 2-0. That's just kind of a lackadaisical approach to the game, which is a little concerning. But at the same time, we got lucky. We have that wall back in the net, so hopefully that woke everyone up and say, hey, this game's not over yet. Now that we're up 2-0.
That definitely is a thing they'll be looking for. As Carlos Di Pena for Dynamo Kyiv comes on for Rodriguez, who's had a pretty good game.
Yeah, great game.
And Supriya replaced by the former FC Copenhagen man, Benjamin Verbic. As Kyiv also looked to make some changes, which means the left-hand side of the attack and the front man have been changed for Kyiv. Barcelona changed once in midfield as Pjanic to leave for Sergio Roberto, and Antoine Griezmann left for Ousmane Dembele to come in. As we said, it is 2-0. If you just tuned in, 72 minutes in. Barcelona's goals have come from Lionel Messi and Gerard Piqué. And as we look there, Trincao and Clement Lenglet ready to come on with less than 20 minutes to go. Do you think Lenglet would be? Do you think it would make sense to play Lenglet in this game, or do you think Koeman maybe should have rested him for the Betis encounter?
Yeah, I feel like he should be rested. I mean, we're up 2-0. We're not having a problem. Maybe he wants to put De Jong in his natural position going forward so he feels a little bit more comfortable when he's in the midfield for the next game, possibly. And also, you want to get your center back. He's a starting center back. You want to get him minutes, getting him ready for next game. Apparently, the injury isn't too bad then if he's going to play the last 20 or so minutes. So,
yeah,
I'm not too.
What I personally think we'll see is I imagine that we'll see someone like Dest coming off, then Roberto put at right back, and then you'd have De Jong pushed up to his natural position, with Lenglet coming in midfield. But obviously, a lot of things to do here for Koeman, a lot of options. He's got a lot of options on that bench.
Yep.
And Francisco Trincao has been solid whenever he has played, but it hasn't been a whole lot that he's played. Do you think is that down to him being a new guy on the team, or do you think it's because his performances just haven't been as
No,
solid
I
as
think
he
he's
would
been great. I think he's had great performances. He's also a very creative winger too, so he's like Fati somewhat.
Yes.
He can pass and create chances as much as he can score. I think it's just youth, obviously, and we have a lot of wingers, man. That's the one position.
Speaking of wingers, Messi almost treated Dembele, but got it back on the bounce. Messi with a shot, and it sails over the bar. Barcelona with a quick break there.
Yep.
As they got the ball, Lionel Messi looks to find Ousmane Dembele, who was marked by a defender, I believe. I'm not very mistaken. I believe that was by Popov, who has been very solid for Kiev today. And Sergio Busquets is the one leaving for Clement Lenglet. Interesting choice. I do think it's a straight swap. So Busquets leaves, Lenglet comes in, swaps with De Jong. So De Jong plays in with Pjanic. But we'll have to see what Trincao comes in. Or not Pjanic, my apologies. With Roberto, of course. Pjanic,
I was a little bit surprised Busquets started today because he's had a lot of minutes recently. He's an older dude. He's getting to that point where it's taxing on his body to be playing this many minutes, and it probably just comes in part with Lenglet being injured, that he'll have to play just because De Jong moved back and they needed another player in the double pivot.
Speaking of substitutions, Dynamo Kyiv have gotten one back. They've gotten one back, and it is currently 2-1.
Yeah,
it's currently 2-1 in the Camp Nou.
Yeah.
It seemed like the Barcelona defense just switched off, but credit to Kiev. They've been pushing and pushing, and it is the captain, Tsigankov, that actually gets the goal. There's a good cross there. I believe that cross came. It was a good cross there from Kiev. The ball just bounces in.
What another save though from Nats, man. That's another great save. Unlucky to have that deflect the way it did. Unlucky even off that Dest shin. It looked like it just came up on top.
It did, yes, it did.
So, I mean, that's an inch away from not being a goal too. That's unlucky, but at the same time, I don't know what's going on with the defense right now. They've had a lot of chances. It's been frustrating.
I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Shabanov who made the cross in, and it as you said, it hit Dest's shin and deflected off of him.
Yeah.
Went in for a shot that was saved by Ter Stegen, and the rebound was for Tsigankov, who slid in and put it into the back of the net. 76 minutes in. It's game on again?
Yep. Unfortunately. That's what I'm saying. You can't get too loud. It's not over. And 2-0 is one of the most dangerous leads in soccer because that's when you turn that switch off and you think you've won, especially in the second half, and it can come back to bite you like it just did right now. And I'm sure they're going to keep pressing and bringing that attacking presence to us. So we need to wake up a little bit here.
And as we just saw there, Shabanov, of course, hurt in the build-up play and wasn't carried off, but he had to get some treatment, and he's now back in play. Barcelona looking to get a second. Here's Trincao on the right-hand side. Sergio Dest goes backwards to Roberto, who's on the right side of the midfield, putting De Jong in sort of like a middle to left side. Longley pushed up, finds Dembele, his compatriot, now to Alba, who doesn't have too much space, forced to find Dembele again. Barcelona pushed a bit further back now.
Yeah. I mean, this team has 10 men behind the ball. It's not going to be easy. They need to find a way if they want to score another goal to get that little bit of cushion because all 10 men are behind the ball right now playing defense.
Really good build-up there. Here is Roberto for Trincao on the right-hand side. He's got Dest and he's got Roberto. Finds Roberto. Now Trincao again on the right side. Burst of speed by the Portuguese.
Yeah.
And Dest pressures the Kiev defense.
At the beginning of that play, that's a good dribble and pass by Dest, which we don't see a lot of from our right backs recently. I mean, Semedo, I think personally wasn't great in the final third on offense. So it's nice to see Dest being able to find crosses and find people in transition, especially being able to dribble a lot of other defensemen. He's super quick.
I definitely think that Dest is a more offensively astute player than Semedo is. Mm-hmm. I think Semedo is a solid defender, and I think he will do well with Wolverhampton, but with Wolves. But on the other side of that, you have Dest, who is solid defense. He has been solid defensively for Barcelona. He was one of their standout performers, for many actually the best performer in the Clásico they played not too long ago. And things are looking promising for the young American. So that's definitely something Barcelona will be hoping continues.
He's also growing too. He's 20 years old. Obviously, Semedo was 27, and in that area, in the next couple of years is when you play your best soccer. But I mean, the way Dest is right now, it looks like a bright future for him. So it's nice. It's going to be nice to see him grow into that position.
Definitely. As we saw there, Depena, I believe, is who crossed that ball in. For Kiev. They couldn't quite make the most of it, and Barcelona did get a counterattack.
Yeah, I agree, Charlie.
On the edge of the box for Trincao, but it's headed away by Shabanov, who has been quite alert this game.
Yep.
I think Shabanov and Kejora, although they've been pushing up quite a lot when Kiev have been attacking, they have been very solid defensively. They've been where they have to be.
And I think that's one of the problems we have. As Charlie said, we need another goal because Kyiv was showing our weakness at tracking back. We are not great on transitional defense, especially when we have our whole team up into their half. We need to get back on defense and we need to press. I think we're being a little bit greedy in that sense that we think we can kind of half track back and see if we can get the ball back. We need to be a lot more urgent in our pressing ability, especially with the youth we have.
As you mentioned that, you look at the team right now, Barcelona, they have every defender pretty much. Yes, every defender is past the halfway line. PK is the target man right now as things stand. Barcelona just looking for a third, looking for that cushion so they can breathe again. And PK now tracking back. And he is, I believe, now the furthest man back, actually.
And pressing is important, too, because not only are you getting back on defense, if you're able to get the ball back in their half and make a defensive stop in their half, and they're not able to get back into their shape, you're able to score a lot more goals that way. You could see that with the old Barcelona, how they were able to press and get the ball back.
Dembele shimmies. Oh, that was a rocket from the Frenchman. Ousmane Dembele skips past, I believe that was Kejora, if I'm not mistaken.
Another great save. Oh my God.
He skipped past Kejora, had I believe Chiganko right behind him, and launched a rocket towards the top left corner. But Nesheret once again, amazing in goal. Dembele with a corner here. It's troubling the Kiev defense, but not too much as Alba pushed to pass it back to base. Almost. PK picks that one up. On the right-hand side here, good run by Trincao. Messi couldn't find the pass. And that's a rarity in itself. Yep. But here we have Kiev once again pushing for the counter on the left-hand side here. Here's Benjamin Verbic on the left side, pushed by De Jong and by Roberto. Trincao back to defend, but Verbic keeps possession, passes it backwards, and Kiev trying to build from the back. Right around the halfway line here. Just a quick reminder, 81 minutes in, it is 2-1 for Barcelona at home at the Camp Nou. Goals have come from Lionel Messi through a penalty in the 5th minute of play. Gerard Piqué extended the Barcelona lead to 2-0 65 minutes in, and Kiev responded merely 10 minutes after the second goal, with Viktor Tsigankov getting what seemed like a consolation goal, but could prove to be very vital here for Kiev.
Yeah, definitely, Charlie. I love Dembele for those shots. He's a great shooter. When he cuts in, he can find a way, as well as him being a ambi pedal, being able to use both of your legs when you shoot, somewhat ambidextrous. It's nice to see us actually just taking some shots rather than just trying to break down that deep block.
For sure. I think one of the as we see again there, the corner from Kiev, once again, the players appealing that it did go off the pitch as it was struck. And Pedri here comes off for Carles Alenia as Barcelona make their fifth and final substitution of the game. Riqui Puig once again watches on from the bench. Griezmann didn't look too pleased now that he's on the bench as well. But you look at the team and you look at the changes, the way the game has gone. Do you think Koeman could have done anything differently?
You know what? I don't see. I think he took his foot off the gas when it was 2-0. I think he was able to make his changes that he wanted, and obviously our defense wasn't able to warrant that. They got a little bit lazy, and they ended up getting a goal, and they're only one off from us. So I personally think he's just trying to find minutes for our players, just because where we stand in the table. I don't think he expected that quick goal, which was, pretty incredible by Kyiv to just bounce back after a 2-0 deficit like that and just come back after having all those chances stopped. So in terms of strategy, I don't know. I think we need to find some more urgency in the midfield, some more creativity, because we can't get past the deep block right now. We're not able to get past these 10 men like we used to.
As much as some people may disagree, I think that's where a player like Felipe Coutinho could have come in very handy.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely a player Barca will consider a key this season, especially considering how well he's been playing for the Catalans since his return. Here's Dembele in the middle, got it from Alba back to the Spanish defender, combines with him. Here's Alenia on the edge of the box. I think we'll see a lot of people complaining about Koeman's lack of use of Riqui Puig. But you only have 5 substitutions, and looking at the scoreline and looking how Barcelona have been playing there, as I believe that's Alenia gets tripped over. No, that was Trincao actually got tripped over. Referee says nothing illegal about that, and the ball goes back to Ter Stegen as it's a bit of a long pass from Dynamo Kyiv.
A little bit of an awkward tackle by Langlet there. I'm not sure what he was doing, just trying to fling himself up there on that through ball and see if he can get a piece of it. That was a little awkward, so we kind of got lucky on that. It could have been a handball too. It looked like he touched it with his arm a little bit.
Yes, I think that's definitely going to be a talking point, especially with the score being as narrow as it is. The gap, it's only 2-1, 85 minutes in. Yeah. And it has been quite a game. It hasn't been one of those games where you see tons of shots from both teams, but it's been one of those games where it's definitely been interesting to watch, even for the neutral.
Yeah. I think Barcelona understands that this game shouldn't be 2-1. It shouldn't be this close. They have the talent to be able to beat these kinds of teams, 4-1, 5-1, as they used to do in the group stages. It really isn't good enough to be fair and honest.
Speaking of big scorelines, looking at the other Champions League games that are going on right now, Juventus have extended their lead from 1-0 to 3 against Ferencváros. Club Brugge and Dortmund is still 3-0 for the away side, the Germans from Dortmund. Sevilla have bounced back from a 2-1 deficit to 3-2 with a red card 80 minutes in. Chelsea and Rennes is 3-0 now, 81 minutes in. And Leipzig are leading against a red-carded Paris Saint-Germain, 2-1, 7 minutes to go of play. So when you look at it like that, it's been quite a strange, in many ways, round of Champions League football. Dembele here, using a burst of speed on the left-hand side here to try and get away from the defense, cuts back in, met by 2, almost ran into the wall, but kept the ball again. Here's Alba on the left-hand side. Has Dembele next to him, finds him. Alenia provides support. Dembele says, I don't need you, cuts back in, Back for Alba on the left-hand side, maybe a cross, and it is. Messi looks to me the header, but it's just didn't happen.
It's nice to see Dembele going full speed now. You can see that he's unhitched the trailer, even with the injuries. I know it gets in people's heads, but the last couple of games, man, he's just been throwing the ball down the sideline and running after it. And it's nice to see him going full speed and not being mentally worried about the injuries that have happened in the past.
Definitely. Looking at that ball down the line for Alba, it was pretty much as perfectly timed as it could be. Right at the second where if he had waited just a millisecond more, Alba would have been offside. The timing of the pass and the weight of it was impeccable. And I think Dembele can be a huge asset for Barcelona this year, especially with as many games as they have now. A lot of different players. You have 5 substitutions to make.
Yep.
It really does give you a lot of wiggle room as a manager.
Charlie says we keep playing in the box rather than a ball over the top for the quick players that we have. Yeah, I agree. We're not able to break the deep block. I think we need to find different ways to score. It's just not working for us. And especially when last game when we had Pedri scoop balls over the top that seemed to be working and causing a lot of havoc for the defense. So that's what Pjanic is supposed to be there for, is dropping balls in over the top from the half.
Speaking of balls over the top, I noticed that Andrievski on the ball on the left-hand side spotted the run of, I believe that was Benjamin Verbic, and just didn't make the pass. You can see Verbic visibly somewhat disappointed by that. It seems like both teams agree that they don't want to opt for the long balls here. As Alba took a knock, is down, looks like he's holding towards his neck, slowly getting up now. And remember, Barcelona out of substitutions as things stand. Although luckily for them, there's only 2 minutes to go of regular time here as we approach the 88th minute. Corner for Dynamo Kyiv and a chance to get the equalizer as Tsigankov, the captain, who scored their lone goal, remember. He's taking the corner here, trying to cause havoc, and Ter Stegen punches it away. That's managed to keep it in, but it's gone back to Kyiv, and they will be looking to get a goal back here. Logan, what do you think we'll see in the final 2-3 minutes of the game?
Definitely Dynamo just trying to push for that second goal. They need points, especially in the bottom of the table where they're at right now. So, I mean, I think Barcelona is going to stop and drop back. I don't think they're trying to counter too much. I think they're going to, slow it down and just try to play extremely defensively, which they should be doing. They have the lead and they're going to keep it. I don't think they plan on scoring another goal.
I can definitely see that. And as you say that, we approach the 90th minute of play here. Barcelona, of course, the next game for them is against Real Betis in the league. And with this performance and the performance that they had against Alaves, do you think they'll be too disappointed by this result today?
Yeah, I think they'll be a little bit disappointed by it. 2-1 versus this team and where they play and what in that country. I don't think that this is the scoreline that represents how good this team is or how talented we are. I think we still have a lot of room to build. I do think we've been that their keeper played great. We could have 3 or 4 goals easily. So obviously the last 2 or 3 games we've been getting a lot of chances. They just have been having going in. And over time you'll see that if you keep working hard and obviously working at it and getting your shots in, they'll fall at some point. So it's not all doom and gloom, but this definitely isn't a result you want to see for a team that hasn't been playing well for the most part lately.
I think the thing for Barcelona as well is that they are at a stage now where they are building. They're having good build-up play. They're attacking well. They're doing all the right things, it seems, but they just can't seem to get that final touch, that edge that they need to get the goals. And as we say that, just to give you a quick recap, it is currently 2-1. The 90th minute is well underway, 3 minutes of added time. And Barcelona have used all 5 substitutions. Dynamo Kyiv have used 3. And it's been one of those games where both teams want to do what they need to do. Both teams looking to not force things too much and looking to capitalize on the opponent's mistake. And I think looking at how Barcelona have been playing today, if they bring the same style into their game against Real Betis, but with a bit more edge to it, I don't think it would be disastrous by any means. I think they are now at a point where the team itself is meshing together well. There is good chemistry between the players. They're reading each other's runs well. But you do feel that they're lacking that final thing, that final edge.
Decent push here.
So what do you make of the game so far? Do you think that this is what they would have wanted, considering everything now that we've seen this game for 90 minutes?
Yeah,
you
look
think
at
the scoreline reflects it.
You like the result, obviously. Anytime you win 3 points in professional football, it's important, and it doesn't matter how you got there, but as long as you got there. But you have to look. I mean, this talent with this team and who they played, it's a little bit worrying sometimes when you're only able to beat these teams 2-1, because back a couple of years ago, we'd be out of these games 4-5-1. We'd be able to develop a couple players that need minutes a little bit earlier. We could make early substitutions, and players could get their minutes in early because we were able to lead by a substantial amount of goals. But overall, yeah, I think we have a lot of work to do. It's still early in the season. We still need to make sure we build our chemistry and make sure people are getting minutes. That includes Pooch for me. I think he's an essential part of our offense last year. I think he was a great midfielder. I'm a little hurt that he keeps getting left out of the lineup. And I think it's one of those things where Coleman left him out of the starting squad or not the starting squad, but the squad in general for last
squad
game.
list. Yes, he did.
I think he's kind of over hearing, the fandom talk about how they want to see him play and what they need, that he needs minutes. And I think he's just trying to show to us that, hey, I call the shots here. You guys don't. And I'm letting you know that by keeping him out of the squad.
Yes, Koeman is a very direct, straightforward manager. That's how he is. We saw that with Everton. We've seen that wherever he's managed, really. He is vocal about what he thinks, and he sticks to what he thinks.
Yeah.
And that's obviously a very admirable thing to have in a manager. And I think with a team like Barcelona, that is what you need.
Yep.
And as we say that and finish on that note, it's final. It's full time. The game is over. Barcelona 2, Dynamo Kyiv 1 at the Camp Nou. And let's take a look at some of the stats, shall we? Yeah. So for Barcelona, if you take a guess, how many shots do you think they had overall?
I'll say 16.
22.
22? Okay.
22 shots, 14 on target.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you weren't far off because you said 16 shots. They had 14 on target.
Yeah. Okay.
As for passes, 761 attempts from Barcelona with 92% accuracy. 64% possession to Kiev's 36. Kiev 419 passes with 87% accuracy. So Barcelona's style here was pass the ball around, make sure you don't risk too many passes, hence the 92% accuracy. And perhaps you could argue that maybe Kiev's slightly lower percentage of pass success rate could have come from Barcelona's constant pressure on them. As for fouls, it's been one of those quiet games. 14 fouls. I believe it was 9 or 8 at halftime. So not one of those games that got progressively intense, at least not to the point where the ref thought this is not okay. That's a card. There was only one yellow card, actually.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, it was not for the penalty. But Buyalski got a card for sliding in on Lionel Messi earlier. As he was trying to take the ball from him, he slid in a bit too late. Doesn't seem like it was with malicious intent when you look at it, but he did get a yellow card. And that was the only yellow card of the game, actually. I think, just to give you a recap, in terms of the current standings in the Champions League Group G is where these teams are. Barcelona, Juventus, Dynamo Kyiv, and Ferencvaros. In that order is what the group table looks like now. So Barcelona, 3 games played, all 3 games won. They faced every team in their group, scored 9 goals, conceded 2. And those 2 conceded goals were from Ferencvaros and Dynamo Kyiv. So Juventus did not manage to score against Barcelona, which is quite interesting considering they've scored 4 now against Ferencvaros, who Barca beat 2-1, I believe. Actually, that might not be true.
No, they had a decent, I think it was 4 or 5-1, I believe.
It was, I believe it was 5. Yes. Yes, it was 5-1. It was 5-1 because it was 5-1 because Barcelona beat Juventus 2-0 and then conceded 1 here and scored 2. So that's 5-1. My apologies. So Barcelona atop the Champions League group stage table.
Nice.
9 points. Juventus second, 4-0 as things stand. And I believe that game is pretty much about over, more or less. 6 points in the league table, and then tied on 1 point in third and fourth are Dynamo Kyiv and Ferencvaros. Kyiv edging Ferencvaros on goal difference, as they have a -3, whereas Ferencvaros have a -8, conceding 11 and only scoring 3. So it's quite an interesting group, and for Barcelona, winning their last 3 games in Champions League is obviously good, but then you look at La Liga and it seems like something is missing.
Yeah, definitely. I think hopefully they can take these results in La Liga somehow and give them some sort of push to get going in La Liga. They might have some sort of an inclination to play better in Champions League and prepare for Champions League more importantly. But hopefully we can find a result. It's been pretty tough the last 3 or 4 games. We've been dropping a lot of points, but it's still early in the season. I can't stress that enough, that they're just going to need to find a way to get points, and hopefully soon we'll get Coutinho back, and a lot of the injuries won't plague us as much as they have recently. And just looking for some results. For sure.
I think looking at it, it's and I said this at the start of the game as well. I think the thing that Barcelona have done this season compared to last season is that they've shifted their focus from let's win La Liga and have Champions League second priority to the opposite of that. Because you look at the Champions League and they're playing good football, they're getting the results, they're getting the right goals, and yes, they are being pressured by teams, by every team they've faced. They've given them a challenge, but they've been up for the challenge and they've come out victorious. In La Liga, you look at the games that they've played and say against Alaves, I think Barcelona had a really good game. They just got unlucky, and it coincided with Alaves keeper having a field day. So I think it's a team that is undergoing a rebuild, and they are going in the right direction. Personally, I know Antoine Griezmann has been getting a lot of criticism. I think he can be a valuable asset for Barcelona, and I think he's slowly getting into that habit now. Obviously, against a team that plays a deep block like Dynamo Kyiv, it's very difficult to get involved when you are the lone striker. But he still put in an effort, and I don't think any player would have done as if you put anyone else in there, I don't think it would have made much of a difference because Kyiv were just that disciplined in defense. And they only conceded 2 goals from over 20 shots.
Yeah, they kept good shape.
And 14 on target. That is very admirable. Yeah,
they kept great shape.
I think this was pretty much, if you have to put it into perspective, this is pretty much Barcelona v Alaves.
Oh, yeah.
But Barcelona just a bit more of a cutting edge this time.
No red card this game, but definitely, felt like the same amount of shots. Felt like the counters were against us were just as frightening against all of that. But, yeah, good result. I mean, it's not convincing. Like I said, it's still not convincing for me. It's still early in the season. Obviously, we have a lot of things to change. Koeman's going to, make some changes in the lineup, but it's still not convincing.
For sure. I mean, you look at a team like Barcelona, then you compare them to a team like FC Bayern, who seem to steamroll everyone they face. And you look at them and you go, the difference is that Bayern just seem like more of a dominant team, partly because the side Hansi Flick has built has been incredible.
100%.
The mentality that he's instilled into these players and the fact that he's had as much time as he's had with the players obviously plays a big difference. But you feel like with Barcelona, at least the way I see it, is they have potential to be that team with the current squad that they have, but it takes a bit of time, and they're heading in that direction.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. But
it's been quite a night. If you guys have any more questions, please do leave them below. Just to remind you, a quick reminder, we have 2 podcasts on the Blaugrana Podcast Network. We have ADN Barca and Barca Talk Pod. You can tune in on your favorite streaming platform. We also have exclusive content for patrons. If you donate to our Patreon, to the Blaugrana Podcast Network Patreon, you pretty much get content every day of the week.
Well, nice. Good to get the result.
Yeah, it was. I think it was one of the games where Barcelona really had to grind out the result, but they got it in the end, and they'll be very happy with that. As for merchandise, we of course have Blaugrana Grand merchandise. The idea behind it is that it's simplistic, so you can wear it even if you're not going out to watch a football game. And if you're looking for a new hoodie or a new T-shirt, a new mug, a beanie, whatever that may be, use code STREAM10, that's STREAMTEN, for 10% off your next purchase on blaugranagram.com/shop. You'll help support us, and you'll look cool while doing it. So do check that out if you're looking for some new attire. And if you enjoyed this stream, do, as always, when we do these streams, we'll do these for every single Barcelona game unless something comes up. If something comes up and we won't do it, we'll obviously let you know in advance. But if you did enjoy this, do drop us a like. Follow us, depending on what platform you're watching this on. Subscribe. If you're on YouTube, do subscribe. If you're on Twitter, drop us a follow. Facebook, drop us a like. And let us know what you think of these. If you have any ideas, if you really enjoyed it, do let us know. And on that note, we'll see you on Saturday when Barcelona face Real Betis.
Awesome, Omar. Good talking to you. Good game. Good results.
You too. Right back at you. And on that note, good night, everyone. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.